Today's topic is the role of volunteers. In fact, we wanted to dedicate this day to the volunteers of our society as Volunteer Appreciation Day. We in the society, all of us know, the society is run fully by volunteers. And we know what is the role and importance of volunteers in the society. So who are really volunteers? Volunteers are selfless workers who work for the welfare of others. Others in community, in congregation, for the organization, who work for their welfare in a spirit of selflessness. That is volunteering. Swami Vivekananda had a great idea about working for others. He said, our life is meant to give. We are born with closed fists, but we have to open it. And Swamiji said, if you don't want to open your hands, nature will press you on your hands and you will let open. You will have to give. You are born for giving, not hoarding, not collecting, not possessing, but giving. And in that is the plan of the Creator, and in that is the fulfillment of the being born as a human being. If you do not follow this, you will be missing your life, purpose of your life. He said, they alone live who live for others. They alone live. And he adds to that sentence, the rest are more dead than alive. If you do not live for others, if you do not work for others, your living is like death. It has no meaning for the world. Unless you are connected to the world and you give something productive to the society, your living, whatever great you are, whatever wealthy you are, your life is really not worth a penny for the world. And it is only for you, and you are become like a living dead. You are already dead and you are living for yourself. So they alone live who live for others. The rest, that is those who do not live for others, are more dead than alive. Sri Krishna also said the same thing in the Gita, that we need to work for others. And he said that if you are selfish, self-centered, you are sinner. There is the word come papa. And he very metaphorically says, one who cooks for only himself or herself, that he is a sinner, and what he eats is sin. Bhunjate te agham papa e pachanti atma karanat. This is very metaphorical saying that if you cook only for your purpose, you are eating sin. But its broader meaning is, if you live only for yourself, then it is not worth living. It is a life of sin. If you have to have sin there, it's a life of sin. Now we can say, no, who lives for himself? We live for our family, we live for our kids. But that is also your own self extended a very little, very minute extension. That is not real extension, that becomes you. You have to go beyond your limited circle of my wife, my children, my grandchildren. Like that, it's a small, very small circle. So we need to, if we really want to live and have the joy of living, we have to live for others, for the greater society. Unselfish act is giving something for others. And volunteering is in fact doing something for others. Only giving will be little less. Of course, that is charity. Giving is charity, no doubt. Volunteering is you work with your mind and with your hand. That becomes real volunteering. And that gives real satisfaction. Unselfish act is giving something for others, This giving can be time, energy and position. It can be kind now if you are not able to really donate. You don't have time, or you have become not very strong with age, you cannot really do some physical work, then is there any giving for that person? Can he be still volunteer? Yes, volunteering through kind words. You come to the temple or church or wherever you belong to, and using kind words itself is a volunteering. Smile itself is a volunteering. You smile and talk with other person in a very sweet words, compassionate feeling. How, if anybody has any problem, trying to resolve that itself is a great volunteering work. Of course, volunteering will need to work with something, working with your hands along with your brain and thoughts. But these itself become a very good volunteering work, using kind words, having a friendly attitude, a loving smile, and very compassionate behavior towards the members of the society. Swami Vivekananda was very great in this selflessness. He termed it selflessness as unselfishness. That was the coin that Swami Vivekananda gave. And he said this unselfishness is the real test of our spirituality. How much you are not confined to your own self, how much you can go out of your own self, on that depends on the test of your spiritual progress. How much you think about others. And he took this unselfishness to such a great extent, and he defined God in relation to unselfishness. And he said, unselfishness is God. When one totally ignores his own self-interest and works for others, that time is God manifesting through that person. Nothing for myself, it's for all for others. That time is the God totally manifesting, is God being there. Unselfishness is God. Wonderful definition of God, nowhere you find in any scripture. Totally being selflessness is being with God. Now this has to be practiced. We are still not realized soul, so we have ego, there's I sense. Now how to modify, transform, sublimate this I and substitute this I with God, feeling of God. And that feeling of God comes when we cannot perceive God as such. But Swami Vivekananda was great in saying, where do you have to go to search God? God is in front of you. In Bengali he wrote a very nice poem. Bahurupe sammukhe tomar chhadi kotha bujisho Ishwar. You are searching God here and there. Why do you search here and there? He is in front of you, very perceptible in many forms. All forms that you see is the form of God. Hindu believe that there are many forms God can be. Some believe that there are 330 million forms of God, 33 crores. So, even more. 6 billion, 7 billion human face is the face of God. There Swami Vivekananda brings God to every human being. And he says, I believe in that God whom ignorant call human being. Human being only ignorant who have not seen God, who do not know God, they see as another person as human being. The man of knowledge, a true devotee, a realized soul, will see that person not as a human being, as God himself. That's why he says, where do you see God? God is there in front of you in many forms. All human forms are God. God is not confined only to human forms. First we have to see every human face as the face of God. This is the first step. Then we still grow. There is no end of growth, spiritual growth. Then all living beings become the form of God. Then everything that is created becomes the form of God. That's our scriptures teach. We touch the earth and we pray. We pray, this earth is God, the sun is God, the air is God. Oh Brahman, you are this air, we are the perceptible Brahman, you are the God. Apo Narayana, water, you are God. There is no extent that God cannot be perceived. God is there, manifest in every form. Whatever we perceive is the form of God. There takes our philosophy. So when we are searching God, and God is there in front of us, so worshipping God with flower is one thing, and the same worship can be done, as Swami Vivekananda said in the temple, Rameswaram, famous Rameswaram temple. He says those who worship the image of God here with flowers and rituals, but don't take care of the people who suffer, the poor, the downtrodden, their worship is not complete. It is a part of the worship, but the real worship comes from being connected and serving the people. And there comes the volunteering. Why should we volunteer? We want to give. Why? If we see how we have grown, we have taken. When we take something, we need to reciprocate, we need to give that. No one is a self-made man. Someone says, I am a self-made man. It can never happen. What happened when you were born like baby, very fragile baby you were born? Weren't you taken care of by your mother? By your relatives? By the society? By your teachers? There cannot be a self-made man. Every person is supported by the society, which includes his parents, relatives, mother, father, everyone. And that's why we are what the society has given us. So we have received so much to be in the position what we are. We need now to give to the society back. That's why we need to volunteer, we need to go, we need to serve. And the one thing is there, in giving, there's a lot of joy. We feel happy in giving, in being useful to others. So don't we give? We give. We give to our birthday thing, to our children, to our wife, husbands, to our parents. We do give. It's not that we don't give to anyone. But that is not enough. We need to give something to people who are not related to us. We need to give in such a way where you don't expect anything, without any expectation. That is the real giving. When you give to someone, you don't expect even thanks later. That is the real giving. Giving to community where I belong, that comes there volunteering. That I have to give something, so I take something from this community. And that's why there is the concept of yajna, joy of giving. And this joy of giving we should teach to our children. We often say, you have to become this thing, that thing, achieve this thing, you have to become rich, you have to become that. Where is the teaching for, you have to learn to give. And there lies the real happiness, real joy. This concept of yajna is all our offering, all giving. That was there ever evident. And in the Gita also it is said that through the yajna, this whole system survives through the giving. If you see that, how do we survive? We get all energy from sun. The sun is all giving, it doesn't get anything from us. So like that, when we give, the society survives. We find the examples, you see, how do people give? Holy Mother was one example. How much she felt for working for others. She was a small girl of 5. That time there was famine in Bengal. And his father, whatever he had, not a very rich person, whatever he had, grains, he cooked it into a gruel, some khichdi. And then it had to be given to people who were very hungry. And when it was cooked very hot and it was served on the plate, that time itself people wanted to eat and the things were very hot. Just cooked and put on the plate. This little girl, Sarada, comes and with a small hand he brings a fan and wants to cool that food as fast as he can do that. With this attitude of service. And she used to help her parents cutting grass from aquatic plants. And not only with parents and brothers, with that small girl of 7, 8, 10 years, but at 5 itself, she was introduced in volunteering, in serving others, in giving something joy, in making their lives little easy, in their eating comfortable. That thing she retained up to the end. When someone was serving a person with throwing the food from far distance away, he snatched away the basket and said, "Can one take comfortably like it? You have to serve with honor." In the Shastras it is said, serve with dignity, serve with honor, Shraddhaya Deyam, Riya Deyam, give with honor. Such holy mothers, this thing came from her at the age of 5. We know another great saint, Mother Teresa, great nun. She is not recognized as saint, but she is recognized as something benevolent or blessed. Blessed Teresa, they call her. They call him Blessed Teresa of Calcutta. So when she was 18 years of age, she had a wish to serve others. At just 18. And she joined the sister of Loreto. She was born with ethnic Albanian parents in somewhere in present Republic of Macedonia, in their capital Skopje. And there she joins at the age of 18. And at 19 she is posted all the way to Calcutta in 1929. That was the place, very hot, humid, malaria infested, all those things. She came there and she was appointed as a teacher in the school, Loreto School in Calcutta. She taught there for a few years, and after that, around 1948, she found that teaching was good. She was a very good teacher. But she found that there is a lot of poverty, service is needed, people need something to be done. Educating people of high class society, those come to the English medium school, was not complete satisfactory thing for her. So she broke away from there and made her own missionaries of charity and took care of sick people, poor people, older people, and gave a lot to them. And whole her life she dedicated to the people of India. She never met her sister and mothers after she joined the order. This is giving. She says, she's very beautiful, she says about love and giving. She says, we cannot do great things. It's difficult to do great things. But only we can do it, only small things with great love. So that is one very important aspect in volunteering. Is our work associated with love? Love for our congregation, love for the people, and love for God, for the ideal which we stand for. Always it is, giving is an opportunity. It is a privilege when we are allowed to serve. Swami Vivekananda said that receiver is greater than the giver. Because there is someone who is accepting, that's why I am able to give. I am privileged to give. And he said, when you are helping someone, don't be proud and throw some penny in his cup, but go and kneel down and offer your penny, whatever you are going to give, but with lot of respect and love, and with the gratitude to God and to that person that you please accept my offering. So, because he is there to accept that you are able to practice your offering. So be always grateful in serving others. That is one very important thing for the volunteers. The gratitude for being allowed to serve. This love is the undercurrent of Ramakrishna mission. Everything done, when Swami Shivanandaji asked people who were going to relief for brahmacharis were called, and he asked brahmacharis, what are you going to give to the people who are afflicted with flood? He said, Swamiji, we are giving clothes, bundle of clothes we are taking, and some utensils, because all their things are washed away. He was giving all the list of things that are being given to the people there. Swami Vivekananda, Swami Shivanandaji, Mahapurush Maharaj, he said, the second president of our order, He said that, but those were already given by the people. People donated to you and you are giving back to the society. That's not you are giving, you are just being carrying that. You are organizing the distribution of those things who are given by the people. I asked, what are you giving? So they said, Swamiji, what we have, we are monks and brahmacharis, we have nothing. What we have to say ours. We have nothing to give. Shivanand, she said, no, you have still to give from yourself. And that is love. That you add love, give with love, Shraddhaya Niyam. This Shraddha, this love is your part. And that Swami Pramodhanandaji also used to quote. When you serve, this soup prepared here, serve with love. Otherwise you are giving nothing. Someone gave and you are just being carrier. Give something from your love. That is a very important thing for a volunteer. Swami Vivekananda, who taught this service attitude, he sent his disciples. He used to say, I love you so much. His two disciples used to say, I love you so much. He really loved every human being, and more so his own disciples who have left everything, renounced home and heart, and came to serve the ideals of Sri Ramakrishna, to realize God, how much dear he will be to them. He used to say, I love you so much, and yet I will be happy to see you dying, working for others. Just work for others, serving others. And in that process, if you die, I will be happier. The love doesn't stop there. So this was his passion, his love. Because he knew serving others is worshipping God, is becoming closer to God, it is unfolding your spirituality. That is what the ideal they were born for. So when Swami was sent in Kankar, Haridwar, and Swami Vivekananda himself sent his one disciple, Swami Kalyanananda, say, go and serve monks and poor people there. There's no one to look after them. There were no government hospitals at that time. They were very neglected. They suffered a lot. And they started taking care of those patients. They started bringing the sick persons from the roadside and served. And on this process, when they were serving them, so monks didn't really appreciate. They never saw some monks serving the sick and cleaning their dirts and cleaning their linens and all that. So they got service, but monk, according to their idea, was they should meditate, they should do japam, they should preach. That is the monk, but what is working, serving? This is not the real work of sadhus. Sadhus are meant to preach, get honor, sit in a high pedestal, and just have the honor and have whatever is offered to them. That is what the sadhus should do. They should work with one hand blessing, not working with two hands to serve others. That was the attitude. Swami Vivekananda was the first one in Hinduism, among the Hindus, to bring this idea of monks serving others. And this physical serving the patients. And what the Kalyananda got name, that he was honored by the sadhus, by the society, and they were called Bhangi sadhus, sweeper sadhus. There are sadhus I know, but they clean the dirt and patients and they take care of these things. They are not real sadhus, they just are the cleaners, sweepers. That was the attitude. But he was never daunted, doesn't matter. He was sent by his guru and he knew that serving the sick patients, volunteering for them was the worship of God. Till he was there, he didn't allow to make temple of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is his Ishta, he wants to realize Sri Ramakrishna, he wants to have the vision of Sri Ramakrishna, he does the name of Sri Ramakrishna every day. But he said no need of making temple of Sri Ramakrishna. That whatever spiritual progress, whatever worship patients in the hospital. That is the temple. Patients are God. And worship not through flowers and sandal paste, but through your service, loving words, and nursing them, feeding them medicine, serving them with proper food and diet. That is the worship of the living God that Sri Ram Swami Vivekananda had preached and inspired by Sri Ramakrishna. Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. That's what the volunteering comes. And he never came back to, as Mother Teresa never came back to see her mother and sister. Swami Kalyananda never came back to Bengal, so close. He was dedicated as it was designated by his Guru Swami Vivekananda. Similar things didn't happen only that time. Now at the present time, one Swami, he will be like 60, not very old Swami. He had gone to Malda and he found that people are very poor, serving young, bright-looking boys, serving in the tea under the tree, in the just footpath tea stall. So he caught him and brought him to his school and he started giving him education. And then there were people, he went to the jail, people were there, didn't understand, life was wretched. He started giving them inspiring words that you can change your life. It's not that once you are marked, something done wrong, have gone to prison, doesn't mean the end of life. You can regain your status again. And they were all inspired and they became all, changed their lives. And he brought so many young boys and girls. Just that volunteering started there. Of the community, of the greater community. He was the head of his school. A lot of students were there who used to pay fee and come and get good education. Very famous school in Bengal, in that particular area, North Bengal, Malda school or Ramakrishna Mission Malda. His work was not satisfied of their volunteering in the school alone. He wanted to outreach to the greater society and brought so many students. And somehow, the people in Toronto got news of that. And they said, we want to help. This is great job. We want to put ourselves in this charity. Though physically we cannot go and do the volunteering. And they started collecting money. They came forward just by hearing this. And so many years they're continuing. And things coming little by little, people donate. And they give a lot of money and Swami defends. And Swami sends all that money to those people, children. First generation students, not only from Toronto. One was admitted to the school and he was admitted to medical college. It is expensive in India also. And one person from US, he says, I will donate for that. And he saw that that boy became a doctor after studying for 6 or 7 years. One person just saw in Bengali area of Calcutta that someone had got very good grades and wanted to get admitted in the medical college, but he had no funds, parents were poor. So this thing came in the local newspaper of Calcutta. The electronic edition someone saw here in Toronto, so I can help. And that person started helping this boy and paid full fee. Doesn't know that person at all. That person belongs to Bangladesh, not even India. And he started paying full fee of like few $100 every month. And then he saw that it is continued. He gets the money. He has to go and check his status, his progress in the internet and find how he's doing. He was a no-nonsense person. And finally, that boy became a doctor. And in times were there, that person lost his job in Canada, but he never stopped serving this person, was so dedicated. This is the one thing that volunteer or the person who are in charity, they should be there. This is commitment for the things. Volunteers are actually backbone for our society. As I said, our society here is totally run by the volunteers. And especially so here, because you'll find nobody guiding, nobody saying, nobody is there to say, oh, don't do this, do this. Everything that you see, I've seen in the last 11 years here, everything is done by the volunteers. So much so that someone volunteering for soup kitchen, and they say they come every day in the morning and cook food, and every time they are dedicated so much. What may happen? Snow, rain, heat, they will come. Not only soup, they just extend their volunteering. Let me clean. One of us will clean our washrooms. And they started cleaning washrooms, all 4 washrooms. One of them, by turn, will clean whenever they come here. Nobody asked them to do that. This is the spirit of volunteering. Getting connected, feeling that what is needed. Can I be of some service? Can I be of some help? Our food committee volunteers, anything said to them is less. Food committee volunteers, all our celebrations, so much of food. There is a small food committee. Only the food committee members are good, they organize the things. But the volunteers connected with food committee, one after another celebration coming. Sometimes we have celebration on weekdays. Tithi comes on weekdays. And those persons are there told again, can you make this vegetable, this rice, this curry, this salad? And never know. And every time when they have a lot of work there, they come from the office, cook things for this, and they make every celebration so successful in this. So, a lot of kudos for our food committee volunteers who are so much involved. Without food, the Hindu celebration, there is a puja, there are songs, but very important part of our celebration is food. If just you do puja and the prayer and then you say, okay, thank you, you go, people will not be interested to come. That prasad is very important part of our religious offering. So there has to be prayer, there has to be flower offering, and there has to be prasad after that. It is so much eulogized in some of the Hindu scriptures like Satyanarayana Puja that they say if you go with doing all the prayers and rituals but without partaking the prasad, so you will be not getting any merit but rather getting demerits. So this prasad is very important thing. So without prasad, our puja is not complete, our celebration is not complete. And this is made possible all by the volunteers, those are connected with feeding people on celebrations. Sukhitan volunteers, wonderful work being done. Progress. We started once in a month, 11 years ago, and it is now like 10 days a month. Not 10 days, more than that. Every 3 Saturdays, 4 or 5 Thursdays, and all Tuesdays. So just growing, volunteers coming, and so committed. Some are very seniors, some even are visually impaired, but they will make it a point that they come and serve. That is the joy they get in coming. Some people, volunteers, said there was some problem with soup distribution and where to distribute the soup. Someone said, Swamiji, if it is not yet settled, we will come here and work something for the society. If not soup kitchen, we will do some other thing for the society. Some volunteering we are addicted to do, some service to the society. That is the real thing. Another thing very important of the society is the volunteering for puja and shrine. You see big puja going on. If you go and see in India for Durga Puja, you will find 50 people working for that. Here we have handful of people, 4 or 5. But their work, their dedication, they are coming in time and with all the things they have to take care, they come and arrange the things in such a nice way. Whenever I sit for here puja and I sit for any other place, I feel the difference. Oh, Toronto is something. The feeling comes. Everything is so well arranged. This is all due to the love, dedication, and perfection of our volunteers in puja thing. And the shrine, you find beautiful flowers. Every time you see the flowers are just talking, laughing, and you'll find that when you see the beauty of flowers, to glorify the deity. Sri Ramakrishna, as if he is happy with wonderful flower, that glorify the deity in the temple, in the place of worship. And there are volunteers for that. Very, very extremely dedicated. Without that dedication of that volunteer, you won't have this thing. You'll find some vases there or something like that. But this thing all is by the dedication of this. You have to appreciate it. Another thing is, like one resident Swami here, and for him bringing food, resident Swami never said, can you bring food for me? All volunteers came. Swamiji, we will bring food for you on Thursday. Another comes and says, I will bring on Saturday. Another volunteer comes and says, I will arrange who will bring. And sometimes it is so much they love to volunteer, they never miss. And whenever I have to go on that day, they say, Swamiji, why you have to go on that day? Why have to go on Wednesday? Can't you go on Thursday? We miss. This is the spirit of volunteering, the spirit of service. the spirit of doing for others. What for? Nothing external gain, but internal, yes, lot of internal gain in the form of peace and joy, in the form of unfoldment of our spirituality inside. There are volunteers who take care of our newsletter, all their work, and still they go on working. Some makes envelopes, some paste stamps, some does proofreading, some writes, composes the newsletter. All this is done by volunteers. Another great work done by the volunteers of Vidya Mandir is our Vedanta Society Vidya Mandir. Teachers who are not even very strongly connected with the ideal of Ramakrishna Vivekananda. Just they love to teach, and they might be knowing something about Vivekananda. Not all of them are devotees as per se, as we say, devotees who want to meditate and pray. They will come only for Vedanta Vidya Mandir. And they come and they do everything for the teaching, dedicate time for whole Sunday. You see, Sunday is the time they get holiday. They come and whole day is gone in teaching, cooking for the students, cleaning the dining hall, and it's making them learn music, drawing, and all that is done day after day, year after year. They are doing that. Some of them are very busy persons in their own profession. Some are professors in the university. And with all doing good works, they will not miss to come and give time here. That is volunteering. And taking care of visiting monks and nuns, it is so much of praise I get. And people say, I never saw a place like Vedanta Society of Toronto where we have taken so much care. One Swami comes and says, Swami, I felt like being at home in your Toronto center. I don't feel this in other places. It was a compliment. And he was saying from God. So this is the love of this our volunteers for visiting monks. They don't say he's monk and where he belongs. Oh, he is in the center of Tiruchirappalli. It doesn't matter. He's a monk of our order. And whether he's a monk or not of our order, then also they serve. And even common like family visiting somewhere, not monk or nun. There will be so many volunteers. Swami, I can keep them, I can accommodate them. And they get such a wonderful treatment, and they say, it was so nice, I felt like at home. That is the real volunteering we get. Volunteering is not an easy thing, it's difficult. There has to be commitment that I have to do and continuation. And a lot of responsibility has to be taken. There is very much sincerity and dedication needed for the work. I need to do it. And this again has to have the connection with the ideal. It should lead to the progress of a spiritual ideal that we are all spiritual seekers here who come here. So with all our volunteering, if it is not connected with our spiritual progress, volunteering becomes just like a philanthropy. We want more than the philanthropy, we want it to be connected to our spiritual progress. Something we develop, something become better by our service to the society. There is danger in volunteering also. One of the danger is egoism might come. And the sense of ownership. I own this. This is, I alone should do that. So this is danger we have to be always alert. Otherwise, instead of become volunteer, you start feeling yourself as the owner and the doer. So we need to be careful. Another danger comes in volunteering. We often may compare ourselves with others. After long doing, then we say, oh, I do so much, but that person comes and he just talks with Swami and goes away. And I am here working in the kitchen, cleaning the plates and doing that. This frustration may come. If we forget that what I am being given is the privilege. I am working, that is my privilege, I am given this. And why I am doing this how to do this is the thing. How to get rid of this. Another thing may come, the boredom. Long week again doing the same thing. If we are not connected to the ideal, have not thought that you are doing it for the joy of your chosen ideal, then there may be boredom coming. I've seen people here coming for just lecture, and how this is someone, you see, someone comes and waters the plant. Every time he comes on Sunday, he has to come, take the jar, fill the water, and water for 15-20 minutes, and he waters the plants. Wonderful volunteering. Something ants should work in volunteering, not only brain and thought, if possible. So we should be always careful about how much this thing is the privilege that we are getting to work for others. And with that thing, when we think it as the privilege, all our egoism will go, and we should know that we all are one, and it's a part of service. And it's not my ownership that I alone can do this. Why should another person do that? That cannot be there. I should only see that thing is done well. That's the thing. But if shared, welcoming people, that's what the volunteers do. We wonderfully find that among our volunteers, I've seen the spirit of welcoming people. Swami, another person is saying he wants to work here. I have so many people, what to do? But I want that person to accommodate. How to do that? That's my problem. But this welcoming people, yes, this is not... I take joy in working, but I want that joy to be shared. That's a great spirit of volunteering. Solution of this pride and egotism is love of the ideal and a feeling of naham karta. I am not the doer. It's being done by God, and that Sri Krishna is saying, nimitta matram bhava. Be an instrument. I'm an instrument in the hands of God. That's what the feeling comes. I am allowed to do work, and God is doing through me, as we read in Virajanand, that thing, that may Lord work through me. It's all God working. I am not working. May He make me instrument. Joy in being instrument of God, in serving the society, serving the human beings, in serving the congregation. That spirit will take away all our pride and egotism. But we have to be very careful. This always Sri Ramakrishna also warned, when you want to do selfless service, from somewhere this egotism might come. I am working so nice, if I am not there, who will work? Something little conflict comes. Oh, I go to and say, no, I cannot work from tomorrow. It's not that. Conflicts have to be, it's an opportunity to serve. Conflicts are a part of life. That should not make you just give up your service, give up your volunteering. I will not give up. Some are there very strong volunteers. I want to work for this thing. May come what may. I want to serve there. So that is a great spirit of volunteering. What may come, everything else is secondary. My being involved in that particular work, which I like, suppose I like to vacuum the floor, that I will not give up. Swami doesn't like, some people say something, I will work that. So that atmosphere is the real spirit of volunteering. Our Vedanta Society of Toronto devotees and volunteers are so famous in our order. From wherever sadhus and matajis come, they're amazed to see their dedication and love. Our volunteers shower all devotees of the community with their care and service. None are left out of the touch of their love. And let me tell you with certainty that the spirit of service and love they shower here, they share same at home, in their workplaces, and in the greater community of their neighborhood. Volunteering can be exciting, growing, enjoyable experience. It is truly gratifying to serve a cause, practice one's ideals, work with people, solve problems, and know that one is able to do all this with the support of the blessing hand of God. So with this I end today's talk. Just I was thinking if you had any question, I said that we may take up some question maybe here or maybe in the dining hall. If you have any question, just take up in the dining hall.